Carl Jung's most urgent warning was this: the most dangerous people are not the obvious enemies,
but the hidden wolves who hide behind a mask of charm.
They have become so identified with their perfect mask, they are completely unaware of the ravenous shadow lurking behind it.
And we are here in Think Abyss to expose them for you. And now, let us start our journey.
Imagine you find a wolf, but this wolf doesn't snarl. It doesn't show its teeth. It comes to you with soft eyes and a gentle demeanor. It learns your habits, it mirrors your moods, and it makes you feel deeply understood. You begin to trust it. You let it into your home. You believe you have found a unique and special companion. And then, one day, you turn your back for just a moment, and you feel the teeth at your throat. The psychologist Carl Jung did not just study the mind. He studied what people hide. And his most urgent warning was this: the most dangerous people in your life are not the obvious enemies, but the hidden wolves. The quiet manipulators who hide their danger behind a mask of charm, helpfulness, and concern. This is not a video about monsters. It's about the people you trust right now. The friend, the partner, the family member. Today, at Think Abyss, we are unmasking them. Using Jung's deep psychological insights, we will expose the 6 personality types that feel harmless at first, but are designed to quietly dismantle you from the inside. Stay with me, because the most dangerous person in your life will never admit they are dangerous. They will tell you they are the one who cares the most. Before we can spot the danger in others, we must understand the fundamental principle of Jungian psychology. Everyone wears a mask. Jung called this the persona. It's the socially acceptable version of ourselves we show the world. It's the good employee, the loyal friend, the caring partner. But behind the persona lies the shadow of selves. The shadow is everything we repress to be liked: our ambition, our envy, our need for control, our rage. A healthy person is aware of their shadow. They know it's there. They don't let it rule them, but they don't pretend it doesn't exist. The dangerous person, however, is different. They have become so identified with their perfect mask that they are completely unaware of the ravenous shadow lurking behind it. They genuinely believe they are the good person they pretend to be. And because they have no awareness of their own darkness, they project it outward, making you carry it for them. They don't just deceive you. They are a living deception. These are the people Jung warned us about. Let's unmask them one by one. Mask number 1, the chronic victim. This person never takes responsibility. Everything that happens to them is someone else's fault. On the surface, you feel empathy. You want to help. But Jung saw this clearly. Permanent victimhood is a power strategy. If you are always the victim, you never have to be accountable. You can use your pain as a weapon to guilt trip others, to demand their time and energy, and to control them through their own compassion. They don't want healing. They want an audience for their suffering. Mask number 2, the charming mirror. This person reflects back to you exactly what you want to see. They agree with you. They admire your dreams. They validate your insecurities. It feels like you found a soulmate, but you haven't. You have found a void. Jung taught that when someone over-identifies with their persona, they become a mask with nothing behind it. This person isn't loyal to you, they are loyal to your approval. The moment you stop admiring them or challenge them, the mirror shatters, and they either vanish or turn on you with shocking coldness. Mask number 3, the passive-aggressive and ober. This is the subtle saboteur. They don't fight you directly, they support you with poison. When you share a dream, they'll say, "That's amazing. I just worry it might be too difficult for you." They present their fear as concern, their doubt as logic, their judgment as maturity. This is the hidden shadow of the helper. They pretend to empower you while quietly eroding your confidence. Why? Because if you succeed, they might leave you behind. So they gently clip your wings and call it support. Pause for a moment. Does one of these masks feel chillingly familiar? Have you encountered one in your own life? You don't need to name names, just acknowledge it in the comments by writing, "I've seen the mask." Recognizing the pattern is the first act of reclaiming your power. Mask number 4, the secret competitor. This person pretends to be your friend, but they are secretly at war with you. They applaud your success, but only when it doesn't eclipse their own. Every time something good happens for you, they find a way to minimize it or redirect the attention to themselves. Jung believed this type is driven by a deep unconscious inferiority. They don't hate you, they resent what you reflect back at them, their own inadequacy. When you fail, they will feel a secret relief. And they will be the first to say, "I was afraid this might happen. I'm so sorry for you." They are not your teammate. They are a rival in a friendly disguise. Mask number 5, the spiritual narcissist. This is the wise one who presents themselves as enlightened, mature, and emotionally superior. They speak softly, they quote philosophy, they reference healing, alignment, and shadow work. But in truth, they're deeply attached to being seen as superior. The danger? They don't dominate you by arguing. They dominate you by always being the calm one, making you feel emotional, unhealed, or spiritually inferior anytime you push back. They say things like, "Sounds like a trigger you haven't dealt with yet," or "I'm just holding space for your anger." It sounds wise, but it's really a power play. They use therapeutic language to invalidate your reality. Jung warned about this, especially because the wise one often builds their persona out of unintegrated ego. They didn't kill their ego, they just gave it robes and crystals. Mask number 6, the empathic controller. They feel everything. They sense energy, they pick up on moods, they comfort you often, and make you feel deeply seen. At first, this seems like a gift, but over time, it becomes something else. Control through sensitivity. You start adjusting your behaviors so you don't disturb them. You suppress your reactions so you don't hurt them. You hesitate to express frustration because they'll say, "That energy really affects me." And before you realize it, you're not expressing yourself at all. You're managing them because they've convinced you their pain is your fault. This is not empathy. It is psychological submission. Now that you've heard all 6 types, you might ask, why do these people exist? Why do they move this way? And Jung's answer is brutally clear. Because they never met their shadow, so now they make you carry it. They never face the part of them that's manipulative, so they project it onto you. They never admitted their need for control, so they control people in the name of love. They never took responsibility for their pain, so they made it your job to fix. These people aren't rare, they're everywhere, and they thrive in spaces where people don't know how to defend their energy. Jung believed the only protection was self-awareness, to spot the mask, to see through the kindness, to hear what's not being said, and to walk away before you need proof. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. But here's the real warning most people miss. You attract what you haven't integrated. Let that sink in. If you're always attracting manipulators, there's a part of you that's still afraid to stand in your own truth. If you're always surrounded by victims, there's a part of you that needs to be needed in order to feel valuable. If you're constantly betrayed by charming people, you're still worshiping external approval more than internal clarity. That's why this video isn't just about who to avoid. It's about why you tolerated them in the first place.
And Jung believed the answer always lives in one place, your shadow. The shadow attracts the mask. Jung taught that the shadow is everything you've repressed, the parts of you were told were too much, too selfish, or not lovable, so you buried them. You became nice, you became helpful, you became agreeable, you became whatever would get you accepted. But here's the trade-off. You lost your edge, you lost your instincts, you lost your barrier to harm. Because when you repress your anger, you tolerate disrespect. When you repress your intuition, you ignore red flags. When you repress your self-protection, you keep letting in the people who pretend to love you and then slowly consume you. Jung didn't want you to become cold. He wanted you to become whole. And to do that, you have to stop pretending that your love is limitless, that your patience is eternal, and that your trust should be freely given. Because it shouldn't be. Not everyone deserves access to you, especially not the people who live unconsciously. Because here's the brutal reality. Some people are not learning, they're just repeating. They've been the same for 10 years. They're not doing shadow work. They're not growing with you. They're just adapting their language to hide their same old patterns. And unless you become the kind of person who values inner alignment over outer harmony, you will keep bending for people who wouldn't stretch an inch for you. What to do now? If this video hit you hard, good. It means something in you is waking up. It means you're done being easy to manipulate. It means the old version of you, the one who needed to be liked, needed to fix, needed to feel good, is finally tired. So here's how you move forward. 1. Audit your circle. Start asking, who drains me? Who confuses me? Who am I constantly explaining myself to? If someone constantly needs context just to treat you right, they're not confused. They're avoiding accountability. Let them go. Silently, without guilt. Jung believed withdrawal is one of the strongest acts of consciousness, not because you hate them, but because you stopped abandoning yourself to keep the peace. 2. Let your shadow speak. Stop trying to be perfect. Let yourself say no. Let yourself get angry. Let yourself question people's intentions. Your shadow isn't evil. It's protective. It's the part of you that remembers who you are when you're being emotionally gaslit into forgetting. Let that part rise. Jung said, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. 3. Stop explaining. The people who deserve your energy won't need you to justify your boundaries. They'll feel them, they'll respect them, and they'll match you with their own clarity. But the toxic ones, they'll demand explanations. They'll guilt trip you. They'll paint you as the problem. Let them. Jung didn't believe in convincing unconscious people to see your light. He believed in becoming so grounded in yourself that their confusion no longer slows you down. 4. Trust what you felt the first time. Most people aren't confused. They're just hoping they're wrong. But you weren't. That moment you felt the energy shift, that moment you hesitated before trusting, that moment your gut said, something's off here. That wasn't paranoia. That was your subconscious reading patterns before your mind caught up. Start listening to it. Because the people Jung warned us about don't show up with warning signs. They show up with flattery. They show up with emotional stories. They show up with alignment and vulnerability and healing talk. But time always tells. And when it does, you better be far enough away that it no longer costs you anything. This is the core philosophy of Think Abyss, becoming so self-aware that manipulation becomes impossible. If this is the work you want to do, subscribe to the channel now and hit the bell icon. We are just getting started. The final word is this. Carl Jung didn't want you to fear the world. He wanted you to stop fearing your own knowing. The more shadow you integrate, the fewer toxic people get close. Not because you're hiding, but because your energy no longer gives them entry. You stop explaining, you stop fixing, you stop justifying your standards. And without ever raising your voice, you become someone no manipulator can reach, no narcissist can fool, no competitor can rattle. Because you are now the person Jung wanted you to be. Awake, whole, and impossible to trick. If this video woke something up in you, declare it. Go to the comments and write, I am waking up. Because your journey to reclaiming your power starts with that decision.